TuksNetball proved the dominant side in their clash with defending champions Matis at the weekend, winning 60-38 to go to the summit of the lock on the ongoing 2023 Varsity Netball Championships. Now, to give us more on this and look ahead to the rest of the competition, we're joined by TuksNetball head coach Jenny Van Dyk. Jenny, good evening and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You played the match against the defending champions, and well-constructed match it was. How did you manage to get that right?
Yes, we spoke the whole week about this important game. Obviously, beating the champions is a big deal for anybody. So we spent quite a lot of time analyzing our opponents. I know a lot of the times that coaches would say, focus on your own game, focus on what you have control over. But this time around, we decided that we really wanted to know our opponents and know how they, what made them tick. And then identify 2 or 3 things that we knew if we hit them hard, that it will give us a positive result. And that's exactly what happened.
Well, with such an emphatic win against the defending champions, I mean, where do you think your biggest challenge or competition at the tournament will come from?
Well, Northwest University are also undefeated in the competition at this stage. So they're second on the log at the moment. And we're only playing them at our very last game on Monday night before we'll move into the semi-finals and finals position. Obviously, they will be worthy contenders and they have really been quite good at their game. So that's the one that we're really looking forward to.
Let's take a look at just how your team is made up. I mean, what do you think makes the team tick?
Well, you know what? I mean, if we talk about last year, we almost relegated, and that was such a difficult year for us. And it just shows you, I have so much respect, number one, for first-team coaches in our country, that coaches the under-18s at school level, but then also the university coaches. Every 3 years, you get a whole new student line coming in, and you have to, in a very small matter of time, get them to perform. And I think everybody's doing quite an amazing job, and obviously, we're really content, and we're really quite competitive with each other, which allows us to improve the sport all the time.
Already you've been given the favorites tag. Do you accept that tag as favorites? And also, I mean, what's your plan? Where do you aim to finish?
Well, look, there's nothing I like more than to be on the top of the log. And that's not a position that we are scared of. That's a position that we know we deserve and that we know, look, pressure is privilege. If you're in a position where you experience privilege, pressure, you are doing something right. It means you're in a privileged position. So we understand that part and we are comfortable with that. And that's where we know where we need to step up and perform even better. And, it's not a lot of people that understand and that can cope in situations like that. Luckily for us, that's what we do and that's what we work for. So we're not intimidated by having that top spot.
Well, winning titles is something that you personally, Jenny, are quite familiar with. Have done it quite a number of times. Do you think that will come in handy, as you chase this particular title?
Yes, definitely. Look, the experience you gain from playing in important matches and playing in finals really sets you apart. It just helps you to compose yourself. And, we have a lot of discussions around this to say, what's the mindset about at that moment? So you've got that moment where you might be busy equal in score, and how are you coping with that? And then you might be 10 up, and that might be not be enough, or you might be down by 10. And the thing is, it needs to be mind over matter, and it's about creating that big match temperament. And everybody always thinks, you're born with it. It's not. Confidence is something that you practice. It's something that you can become better at, and that's what the girls understand. And I can see how confident they are approaching the game, and the confidence that's just grown in the past year, which excites me a lot.
And just finally, Jenny, if I may, we've just come from hosting a very successful World Cup here in South Africa. Unfortunately for the Proteas, could not go all the way. But what do you think that has done to the game in South Africa?
Well, I think it's elevated it quite a lot. There's excitement in the air. Everybody understands how important netball is. And, hopefully, the discussion around women's sport is just everywhere. And obviously, we want to make sure that netball becomes a professional sport in South Africa as well. And I think that would be a step in the right direction. And I know the president of Netball South Africa is working around the clock to make that happen. I'm also the S Under 21 coach at the moment. And I know that obviously we've got a World Cup in 2 years' time, a Junior World Cup, and all these players are just looking up to all of these seniors, and they've just handled themselves so well. Unfortunately, going down against Uganda, but you know what? I know the spirit of the South Africans, and I know we will fight back, and we'll make a great comeback.
Fantastic, Jenny. We're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much for taking time to speak to us. Jenny Van Dyk, who's talking to us there as the TuksNetball head coach, talking to us about their fantastic performance beating Matis over the weekend.